another week and another guest on the Granny Panty Podcast, where I like to feature mature creators in the adult industry. I'm your host, RubyLynne, and I met today's guest in October of 2021 at a couple of industry events, and watching her just explode over this last year has just been eye-opening and mind-boggling. I'm excited to chat with her, especially since she was recently sued by Christian Dior for her stage name. So help me welcome. Hello, Gigi.
Hi, thank you so much for having
Dior.
me. Thank you, Dior.
I am so excited to chat with you because I've watched you over the last year, and man, award nominations. I mean, you're just blowing up the pro porn big screen, and I can't wait to hear how that all came about.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been a ride. It's been a ride. I kind of came in just expecting to cam and make a little extra money, and it's kind of taken on a life of its own, and I am thrilled and excited and curious of like where we're going to go next. So it's definitely been a ride. It's been awesome so far.
I can imagine. When I met you, I think I first met you at the Why Not community in October of 21. And at that point, you were a cam model on Chatterbait. So tell us, how did you get that transition into pro scenes?
I think it was by way of OnlyFans. You know, I think you're already shooting this content, and you have agents reaching out and you have companies reaching out, and I was growing on Chatterbait steadily, but it wasn't I guess I got the bug, and the business plan just kept evolving, and I wanted to be more. Like I wanted to I went to while I was at the Why Nots, I presented awards at the XRCOs that same week, and I really caught the porn bug, for lack of another word, there, because I saw these girls, and the camming community and the porn world, as much as everybody kind of blocks them all together and puts them in the same category, they're very separate, and they're very separate worlds, and they're two entities that people cross, but like there's the porn world and then there's the camming world. And so you can be successful in both, but and that's where I saw that doing both and introducing yourselves to both communities really helps your career blossom in both categories. So camming helped my exposure into the porn world and helped my experience and helped my ability to perform in front of a camera. And then being in the porn world grew my name and grew my exposure to where I had more people coming into my cam room to see me on a more regular basis. So I kind of think it all, for me, I know it doesn't work for everybody, but for me, it just kind of was a logical move, and it kind of just all fit together.
Are you still doing cam?
I am. Yep.
You are? Okay.
So
you're still on Chatterbait, correct?
I'm still on Chatterbait. I have been Chatterbait exclusive since day one. They've been really good to me. I'm really they're a strong platform. I've grown, and we're at 50,000. I took some time off of camming, but I'm still growing at a very steady pace there. And I have now, when they come in, they now have places to go to see more of my content. And I have people that see my content, have some place to come and speak to me. So it's kind of I feel it's a very good situation.
Yeah, that is. It is a good way to build. And I feel like a lot of pro actresses and actors did start with cam. So I want to rewind a minute. So prior to camming on Chatterbait, did you start that in 2021?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have prior modeling or any adult work prior to that?
Very little adult work in the terms that I think we're speaking of today. But for about 20 years, I modeled professionally in New York. I was in infomercials. I walked runways. I did the Bloodhound Gang music video. I was on soap operas like One Life to Live, Rescue Me. I was in magazines, and there's a lot of like backstory there. So I had a ton of professional camera experience and speaking in front of the camera and moving. Like, I remember my first photo shoot, someone was like, "You definitely have done this before. Like, you're not new at this." And I think it's just kind of like riding a bike. Like, if you're comfortable in front of the camera, which is strange because in a day-to-day basis, I don't like having my photo taken. So it's a very I don't. I'm like, when I'm like in my yeah, when I'm in my private life, I'm like, no, I don't want to be in the photos. But like in this, it's a whole different sphere. But so yes, I had experience, and I think that when I was looking into this, it kind of brought it full circle. I loved that part of my life. I felt the most like myself and the most where I belonged when I was modeling. I had, a medical issue come up in between then and when I started camming. And I had been told that because of this mainstream modeling for, the runway world and commercial world was going to be a lot more difficult unless I had some extensive surgeries and things like that. And I have to say, because of that, I have never been judged in this world. Nobody's ever said anything to me anyway. There might be stuff out there. And if they do, it's just coming from a place of naive
Right.
and lack of knowledge. But I own it, and I know that it's a part of me, and it is what it is. So when coming into camming, first very shy of it, but now it's some of the favorite. I've learned in this business that some of the things that are your biggest self-conscious, like that make you the most self-conscious, and the things that you're most insecure about are the things that people in your audience and your fans love most about you.
They love it. They love it.
Mhm.
How many years or what was the time frame between the time that you stopped like runway modeling and or the more mainstream television to when you started camming? Was that a product of COVID?
It was post-COVID. It was short of that. I had home situations that were a bit because of COVID that were making it very difficult to make money. I was home, and I was locked at home, and the current position that I was working was very restricted, and I was looking into ways to be able to still be home and be present, but be able to bring in money that was a steady income and was a decent income. Being a single mom at the time I had to be able to juggle both worlds. So I kind of started Googling ways to work at home. I came across, oh my God, Ainsley Devine. Like, we're super great friends now. And it's actually surreal to be friends with somebody who you're in this business partially because of. And that's one of the things that has probably been the most surreal thing in this business. And for me so far has been the people that I've looked up to and the people that I'm like, oh my gosh, like I want to aspire to be just like that person or follow in similar footsteps. They're now people that I have in my phone and I talk to on a regular basis. And it's just a surreal world. So there was about, I'd say, a little over 10 years in between
Okay.
the stop, and then I had a failed marriage. I had a lot of
Life
personal
life happens.
yeah, I had a lot of personal experiences and difficulties that I had to work myself through and get through. And this has awakened a my sexual awakening. This has allowed me to explore a side of myself that I had always been ashamed of, and I had always kept as a housewife. Like,
Right.
you're not supposed to have desires. You're not supposed to have needs. You're supposed to follow that whole like 1950s handbook, right? Like, and this whole world has allowed me to explore things that I would have never experienced otherwise.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So you start camming, you got into that. You were very successful right off the bat, of
Very
course,
fast.
because
Yes,
you're
very fast. It
personal in front of
was
the camera, you're gorgeous, you're
oh,
friendly.
thanks.
I am sure that they were really drawn. And then, so did you transition then to OnlyFans before you started
Yes.
doing more pro?
Yes. So I went Chatterbait to OnlyFans, and my OnlyFans was actually a very disappointing experience for me. I don't know if it was just my experience or if I wasn't doing something correct. I don't know. So it left a lot to my imagination. I didn't know if it was because I was not a large enough name, or people didn't know. So that's kind of where my thought process was: let me do the porn world and, get my name out there and get some more exposure. When people would come to me, they'd be like, we want to see your content. Instead of just sending them to OnlyFans, if they could go to Pornhub for, some other videos, or another website for some other videos, it was a good, I guess, circle of events for you.
Yeah. Do you still have OnlyFans, or did you just give up? Just get out
Currently,
of that?
it's down. I'm revamping it. So I have a tentative launch date side by side with another project that I'm launching. I'm rebuilding it, and I think that I'm really excited about the new one coming out. So I think it's going to be a whole different experience. I hope, anyway.
You are right, though. I mean, OnlyFans is a lot of work. I mean,
It
that is
is.
the one thing I put the most work in: social media and OnlyFans.
Yes.
And I do agree, you're most successful if you have like a huge cam following or a social media, or a combo
Mhm.
of both. Because you're right, I have seen girls get into it and be kind of disappointed. But I also think it's also knowing how to run it. For me personally, I had an OnlyFans that I started in early 2021, and it just didn't do anything. And
Mhm.
finally, fall of 2021, I hired a social media and OnlyFans coach, and then that's what
It
really
exploded it.
exploded it. But you're right. When you just starting it, I know for me, I was just fumbling around. I didn't really have any idea what I was doing.
Everything I was learning from YouTube, and I felt like some days that I was spread so thin between social media, camming, which was my actual income earner, but then I was torn between having content shot for my OnlyFans,
Hmm.
which was supposed to be another income earner, and then I had Sex Panther, and I had, fans paying for WhatsApp and
Right.
Snapchat, so I'm maintaining those, and then you have Twitter, and just keeping your Twitter account right now
Yeah.
is a full-time job. Like,
It's
just keeping
overwhelming.
it is, and it's just and I think that attests to getting a coach,
Hmm.
is having that other opinion and having
Yep.
that second set of eyes, and somebody to kind of say, like, because I think sometimes I get blinders on, and I'm like, oh, all of these pictures are terrible, but
Right.
instead, maybe picking one that you like, that you can live with,
Right.
and at least it's I don't know, I don't, at
Yep.
least it's content, at least it's something. I was a perfectionist to a fault, and I was not putting enough out there because I
Right.
wasn't happy with what it was outcoming. So
Yep.
I'd rather scratch it than put something out there that I wasn't proud of, and so it was a constant juggle.
Yeah. No, it is. It is
Mhm.
definitely. It's a lot of work. It can
It
be
is a lot of work,
rewarding,
and
but it
people
can also be frustrating.
it can be, and people don't understand the amount of time and effort that go into, like, you put out a video, and then I have this, like, handful of fans that the minute a new video's out, they're like, when's the next one coming? I'm like, wow. Like, take a deep breath. Like, I'm very appreciative and grateful that you're so eager for my content, but, like, here, like, enjoy it. It kind of feels like a little kid. Like, enjoy this Lego set for 5 minutes while we, like, take it apart, replay with it, like, know?
Keep your hands busy.
Yeah, keep your hands busy for like 5 minutes, and I'll be back. But I am grateful for all of them, because they're what keeps us here and what keeps us in business, for lack of another term. We owe it all to them, because without fans and without an audience, we would just be, I would just be an over 40 mom, just talking to herself on a cam all day. So,
So, now I want to get into the Gigi Dior name. For one, how did you pick your stage name? And then, if you're at liberty to talk about this lawsuit that came about in November, I believe it was,
mhm.
I'd love to hear how you were notified of that, and what's happening with that.
Yeah, sure. So Gigi Dior it was a brainstorming, there was a whole process that went into it. I wanted a name that it actually started as Georgina Dior. So like a lot of times when I was signing things, I was actually signing the full name. And I shortened it to Gigi, and I heard it. I was like, that's it. Like it's a mix of playfulness and elegance and classy and sexy, and it was everything that I was looking for in a name. So I went with it. And then going to Why Nots, where I met you, I sat through the seminars and I listened. Being brand new in the business, I was a sponge. I was trying to soak in. Sometimes it was so overwhelming. I had pages of notes, but I sat in on every seminar that was humanly possible. And the one thing that I got out of those seminars was trademark your name. There was an attorney that came in and they spoke about trademarking your name because there was a lot of young performers that were coming in or new performers coming in that were blowing up, and there were these people out there buying their stage names and websites and the domain names and the trademarking rights to all these names. And then once this person, a performer, blows up, they're selling it back to them at this astronomical, and then they're having to change their name and rebrand and that whole disaster. So immediately after Why Nots, I started the process of trademarking it. In September of 2022, I got the notification that it had been approved, and we were ready to roll with it. The U.S. patent said you're good to go. It was a whole different entity. It was not a short process. I started it took almost over a year to get the entire thing done, and it was not cheap. It was a lot of having to prove performances and have to prove that I was who I was saying I was. So it was approved in September. And late October, early November, I got an email from the company that I had used to trademark it, and it was from Christian Dior, followed by something in the mail that stated that they were they were asking me to cease and desist using the trademark name because they said that it was tarnishing their brand and that it was diluting the name and all of the other things.
Right.
So we started in, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. We're currently going back and forth. I'm not giving up. I am not going to roll over. I have thousands of dollars into branding and banners and t-shirts and my own websites and all of the reasons I trademarked the name, because I bought the websites and I bought the domain names and I bought the products for all of the social media. My Instagram is almost 11,000, and I would have to start all over with all of that. So I'm not going down without a fight. If I do lose, then it's going to be after a little bit of a fight, because it's not fair that they can walk across this world and take things that are not rightfully theirs. So I'm fighting for all of us that I am. I'm fighting for all of us that, big companies like that just tend to bulldoze. And
That's true. Did you
I'm
have to
not,
hire an attorney for that, or are you fighting it on your own?
right now I'm fighting it on my own. I am going
Wow.
at this by myself. So, yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh,
I
that's got to be
am.
stressful.
It's
Not know
stressful.
not
It
knowing the
is.
outcome.
Yes, it is. And every time like my name is said and like I'm still building it and I'm still growing, and every growth is exciting, but it's a little stressful at the same time, because in hopes that I'll be able to keep it. So I've had and the fans and followers have been so amazing. They're trying so hard to come up with variations and different ways that I can kind of like keep the similarities with it. And so I will keep everybody posted. It's not going to be a short process by any means. Like, this is not going to be over by the end of the month, by maybe not even by the summer. So it's going to be a process.
Gosh, well, I hope you prevail in the end. I just don't,
Thank
yeah,
you.
it's hard to fathom that somebody can tell you you can't use that name.
Correct. Correct, right? Like it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing that somebody can pick on little ones. Like, so
Think
I
of
and I
how many
I'm sorry.
young women or kids out there or people named Mercedes. What if Mercedes went after? You can't name
Correct.
your kid our car brand.
Oh,
Okay.
I mean, and really the examples are endless. And I'm sure being in this business as I am, you could rattle off a dozen names right off the top of your head that are all in the exact same boat and have been since the beginning of this industry, right? Like we could probably go back to the 80s or even further and say that this is not a new thing. This is not something that is, I'm not breaking grounds here. I am not like the first person to ever have a luxury brand in the name. And it means gold. So I'm not going to be broken.
You're
It's
going to
just
have
tough.
to keep us updated.
I definitely will. I will keep you posted. I'm e- I'm excited, eager, and apprehensive all at the same time. It's an emotional process. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, wishing you luck on that.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
let's talk about turning 40. 40 in
Oh,
the adult industry.
it is.
Has it been to be considered a mature creator now?
Um, I kind of don't have any other experience besides it, so
Okay.
it's I guess difficult for me to compare. I could
Mhm.
compare when I was in my 20s modeling in the mainstream world to now, but I would say the hardest thing for me is realizing I'm not 20
Right.
and I can't compare myself to the girls that are 20 or 25 and don't have family commitments. They don't
Right.
have, they don't have the financial commitments of a family. They can hop on a plane to LA and spend a month there, and somebody can water their plants and feed their fish, in Milwaukee, and they're fine. So I think it's not so much the age as it is the commitments that are the biggest difference and the comparison between my body and a 20-year-old's. The I think the hardest thing for me to get used to has been finding the things that I didn't realize were maybe maybe showing signs of aging that I didn't realize. Like somebody said I had old knees, and somebody said at Washington D.C. Exotica, someone said I had an old neck, and all of a sudden you're hyper vigilant of areas that you didn't realize were even an issue. And now I'm like, oh my god, I want to wear turtlenecks every day for the rest of my life. So you have to take it with stride, realizing that trolls are out there everywhere. We have keyboard warriors. They're going to target you because maybe they know that they could never obtain that. Maybe they're jealous of it. Maybe somebody that looked like me or looked like you jilted them in a prior lifetime. There's so many reasons and so many excuses out there. But overall, I have nothing but great experiences. I've been treated super amazing. Even the 20-year-olds that are my friends in this industry treat me like they're equal. I try really hard not to mother them, but at the same time, it's hard. It's hard when you see them and you care about them. You're like, no, baby, like, come this way. Don't do that. You have to let them make their own decisions. The one thing that has taken me by surprise more than anything is the massive lack of mental health support in this industry. The
Okay.
mental health is definitely something that needs to be looked into. It's lacking. Girls are struggling, guys are struggling, and we're seeing it. I've seen, even in the short time I've been in the industry, I've seen beautiful performers at any age come into this for whatever reason it may be, and they do it, and now it's this downward spiral where you're seeing them try this and try that, and the next you know it, they are gaunt and they're pale and they're a shell of the person you saw a year ago. That has been a very, very eye-opening to me and shocking. I don't think I was prepared for that part, but I know that's not really the question you asked, but that was kind of it's. I think the maturity of where I'm at in life has
Yes.
brought all of that to life.
Right, right. And it can be super overwhelming. I mean, I get overwhelmed. I didn't come in this industry till I
Yes.
was 53, but and I just quit my corporate job in April to do this full time, but just trying to travel, go to events. Well, when I travel, I don't make money because I'm not in front of cam. I'm not I'm just not hustling all the sites like I should be. And then you get back and it's like, where do you prioritize? And so I think for those of us who are older who've raised kids, I mean, we've learned to kind of multitask and multi-manage, but I do think a lot of times performers who maybe haven't had to do that. I mean, I'm overwhelmed and I've done all that managing, so I can't even imagine, trying to prioritize. So what do you think is the solution?
I think there needs to be a better health system. Like, I don't know if it would be like medical, but I definitely think that there should be better access to qualified therapists. I think there needs to be like a check in. We have agents and it's not their job, but maybe there needs to be like a monthly check in on some girls, or someone starts a support group that, that allows us to come to a safe, even if it's via cam, a safe space. You don't have to have your cam on, just sit there and talking about it is huge. I think that's the first part of healing, is getting through it. I've realized things that have happened to me in my life through being in this industry. I first realized it when I was starting to shoot porn, and I would leave the set, and I would be asked like, "How was the scene?" And I genuinely could not remember, because I had disassociated so much during the entire scene that I did not have any recollection of the process or of what I had shot. And then I'm watching it back and I'm like, I genuinely don't remember that. And that alarmed me, because I was like, it was almost a trance. So I really started doing some self work, listening to books, and, I found a therapist, and I'm really working through things from my life and my childhood and my marriage and all of it that has kind of brought it through. And through my healing, I've realized that there is that lack of help and the attention to the need for it.
Yeah. And I think Pineapple Support does a good job of trying to fill that gap, but they're only one entity, and
Mhm.
definitely, adding other organizations to the industry would be awesome.
Agreed.
Would
I
be
agree
really
with that
awesome.
wholeheartedly. Agree with that. Yes.
Speaking of agencies, I read that you just signed. I think we share the same publicist, PR person,
Yes,
and
we do. She's
shout out to
amazing.
Lainey.
Hey,
But
Lainey.
I saw that you just signed with, is it 101 Modeling
I
out of New
did.
York?
Yes. Out
Tell
of
us about how
no,
that came about.
out of LA.
LA, sorry.
LA. Yep. They reached out to me after the new year and said, it was very rapid. It was like, "Hey, like, we love your look. We're looking for, your age category and your look. Are you interested? Send me some photos." I sent photos. Within 5 minutes they called and they said, "Let's set it up." So it's not a huge exciting story. It's very fast. It happened under 10 minutes. And I was up on the website by the end of the day, and we're going to LA. So yeah, I've shot in Florida. I've shot in Arizona. But I've not done any performing yet in LA. So I'm super excited about the new adventure, the new, undertaking, and really the new faces, because the Florida scene has really shrunk, and it's such a tight knit community that even after just a handful of shoots, you really start to see familiar faces. So I'm excited for the challenge.
Very cool. Well, it'll be
Yeah,
exciting to see as you expand
thanks.
your resume and grow.
I want an AVN, so that's what I'm going for.
Yeah,
That's what
and
my
I
hopes
think you'll
are.
get there. You will definitely
Thanks.
get there for sure. So,
Thank
what do
you.
you have for 2023? Any big projects you're working on? Anything big coming up that you want to tell your fans about?
I'm definitely just stay tuned and stay patient. My OnlyFans is coming, I promise. I'm really excited about what it's going to project and how it's going to come together. I have a very specific vision, and I'm very excited to share that. Everybody's been so patient and so understanding with with some personal things that I had going on the last within the last year. I am just so appreciative to everybody that's been patient. And but so OnlyFans is definitely coming, so stay tight with that. And I really just want to continue to shoot, stay consistent on camming because that's my home. I kind of feel like camming brings me back. It brings me back to center.
It's grounding.
It is. They've known me. I have fans on my Chatterbait room that have been there since the first week I was on. They know. I mean, I have this one fan that is a nurse, and he knew health stuff when I was in the hospital at one point, and he does check-ins, and like they really become in a way like just extended friends, and they know it's amazing how vested they become in you and your career as well. I want to perform and really do what I can for my fans because they've been just incredible, just incredibly supportive. They've come back with me after I took some time off. They didn't miss a beat. I lose Twitter, they come right back, and I bless them for that because I think I'm on my fifth Twitter, I think this year.
I know.
So,
I lost you on Twitter. It's like we were on,
oh,
and then you were gone. And I was like, well, did she get out of the business? I don't know. And then it popped back up. So thankfully.
I took some time off, but then when I came back, I lost it, and then I lost it again. I think in one day I lost 3 accounts.
Oh,
Every time I went to sign in, it was like, "You're gone," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" So be patient. If you can't find me, I'm
yeah.
pretty sure I'm shadow banned at this point. But I always
You're
say
all shadow banned.
if you're shadow banned, you're doing something right. So, like,
That's right.
I'm like, apparently I'm on the watch list, so I'm doing something right. So,
There you
um,
go. There you
but
go.
Instagram, I'm just very careful on. I'm very cautious. I
Hmm.
don't post anything on Instagram that I
Yeah.
wouldn't want like my family to see. So,
Right.
I'm very very limited on what I do on Instagram. TikTok,
Yeah.
I'm working on. I love the concept of it. I get these creative ideas and I don't know how to like really execute them. So be patient. TikTok is a work in progress. And really, I like 2023. I want to shoot. I want to work. I want to deliver for my fans and my followers, and I want to win an award. So that's where
I
I'm
think
coming.
you're going to do all of those things. You're very
Thanks.
driven.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, as we wrap up the show, I like to ask my guest to give me or give our viewers a granny panty tip of the week. And it can be a tip about anything. Maybe it's about entering the industry as a mature creator. Maybe it's a beauty tip. Maybe it's a how to stay horny. What's your best tip
My
that you
best
want to
tip
give our viewers?
My best tip is skincare. I thought I was taking care of my skin up until like recently. And then you get into this industry and you're realizing that makeup can only do so much. And so if I had done anything differently, and what I'm teaching, younger people that are around me is just take care of your skin, wear sunscreen, wear a hat. Chapstick is in every pocket of, I think I've washed more chapsticks than I dared, I care to mention. But chapstick is huge because your lips wrinkle just like everything else and they go uncovered. You can't cover them with a hat. Protect your eyes. Sunglasses are huge for around your eyes, and just take care of it. Find a moisturizer. One of the things that I've actually come to learn, which was it was backwards to me, and I was like, "How do you do this?" But you can't do too much. So after a big shoot or after like a long weekend like this one, tonight I'm going to wash my face and I'll do straight vitamin E oil. I get it at Trader Joe's or Wegmans, Whole Foods. I'll just use like a cake of vitamin E oil, and your skin just soaks it up like a sponge, and it's glowing. And the next day, there's no oily residue. I put it on my neck, I put it on my legs, anything that just needs that little bit of a boost. It's like a hydro flask for your skin. It's
I
just
love
amazing.
that. I
And
love
drink
this.
lots and lots and lots of water. I carry my Hydro Flask everywhere.
Yep.
A lot of the podcasts that I'm on, you'll see my teal Hydro Flask right next to me. Exactly. Because I mean, and that goes for a multitude of things, right? It's great for your body. It's great for water retention as a mature performer.
Mhm.
We hold weight differently. If I stay up till 3 a.m., my face is going to look a lot different than the 20-year-old that I was with this weekend. So hydration, lots of lastly, one more tip is don't be afraid of sleep. In my 20s and my 30s, I felt like I was a superhuman, or it was my superpower to be able to stay up till 1 o'clock and clean and make sure that everything in the house was meticulous and make sure that everything was in order. But I would go to bed at 2 and up at 6, and I was exhausted, and it showed in my skin, and it showed in my life, and it showed everywhere. Now, when I'm tired, I go to bed. If you need a nap, take a nap, because it's your body's way of saying, time out, you need something, and just listen to your body. So
I
those
think
are my
those are
tips.
all great tips.
Thanks.
Y
This has been a
I know
blast.
for
Thank
me,
you so much.
2023 I is about more about self-care
Mhm.
because I think, as creators, and I'm sure you probably went through this too, you just get so focused that you don't think about anything else. But you're
No,
right, it'll catch up with you.
it does. It does. Take that day where you don't wear makeup, and I don't, and people don't realize this. If I'm not on camera, I don't wear makeup. Like
Like,
I
same.
I I let my skin breathe, because I feel like then when I do wear it, it shows differently. It's going to wear differently, and it's not going my face isn't going to feel so tired. So I don't wear makeup most of the week. So it's pretty cool.
I love it.
I look
I
very
love it.
different than I do right now. So
Thank you so much for making the
thank
time to come
you.
on the show. I was
Thank
excited to
you.
catch up with you and see what you've been doing this last
Me
year.
too. I was really excited when she asked if I would do this. So
Yeah.
it's been super fun to do this with you too. So thank you so
Well,
much for
thank
having me.
you. And hopefully maybe we'll
Awesome.
see each other this year.
Definitely. Are you going to all the shows?
I'll be at XBiz Miami for sure. I don't know about Exoticas. It kind of depends. Yeah, I just
Cool.
we'll see. We'll see. Like I
Awesome.
said, when I'm traveling, I don't make money.
Agreed. Agreed. And it's hard to get back into the groove when you come back from the travel. So
It is. It is.
it's
But
it's a hard.
so I will list your social medias. Do you have a
Fantastic.
website currently where people can find you?
Nope, just everything's on Instagram at Gigi Dior SFW. Twitter is Gigi as seen on TV, and Chatterbait is my Gigi Dior. And stay
Perfect.
tuned for my
Sounds good.
OnlyFans. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome and good luck. Slay all those goals this year.
Thank you. You too.